Okay, and we are live to do some coding. So let's see where we are right now. So we can equip our wonderful spellbook, select a spell, and we should be able, to cast this. The problem is the spell only goes in one direction. So the first thing to do today is to actually make it move in the proper direction. So let's see what we're working here with. We have a spell. We probably need to have a direction here. So let's add this real quick. And direction is going to be, it's going to be vector 2, of course. Yeah, I need to move my mic. I would like to place it, actually I should probably place it somewhere else on my desk, but that's a thing for another day. Let's see, that should be, let me maybe move a little bit here. That should be vector 2, and now we should be able to direct our spell somehow. So let me think, how can we get this to run? We have spell system, which actually casts the spell, but it needs to take the information, the direction information. So we have attack direction in, in our animation. So that probably should be it, right? So going to our spell system, I need to get a reference to animated sprite 2D, which is fine. So then when casting a spell, I can say animated sprite 2D, attack direction. That's gonna be also the spell direction, right? Spell direction. Let's just quickly see. This is set to null, but then direction to, this is a string. I guess this is fine. It would be better to have this as a vector 2 in that situation. Direction to attack direction is set to null. Yeah, it is a string. So what if I would like to get this as a vector? So let's do attack vector, and I can say get, and then I can just create a const, right? Say direction to attack vector. We can make a dictionary and say back is going to be vector x and y. So this is back. I hope that the music isn't too loud. Let me bring it down a notch. And then we can go and say prompt is vector 1 0. Then we have right which is vector 1 0, and then we have left, which is this of course vector 2. Vector 2 minus 1 0. Okay, and this is incorrect. Okay, and then I can say if you want to get the attack vector, we should return direction to attack vector at attack direction. That makes sense. So we can go to spell system and figure out how to cast our spell. So we have attack vector. We do this, and I can say spell direction is equal to spell direction. Okay. Oh, why don't I see chat? Should be there. Why isn't it visible? Did I do something wrong? Let's see. Let's copy this, properties. Okay. Well, we have chat here. I need to set up this stream like better with all the chat and everything. Okay, anyhow. Now, if we pick up the spell book and equip it and select a spell, well, that's not correct. It's not rotated correctly and it's always moving down. And this is because in a spell we need to multiply this by direction. And now let me oops, sorry. Bring that here. And now we should be able to cast this properly. Equip the left hand, fire, and start casting this. Okay, this is just staying in place, which is definitely not correct. Because what? No, it should be. This doesn't matter. Speed times delta times direction. That should be the proper updated position. And now we can cast our spells almost correctly. So this is left, this is right, this is top, and this is bottom. So the bottom is incorrect, and we can fix this by going to this script and seeing, yeah, this is prompt is 1 0. Okay, so but then there's the problem of the rotation, right, of the spell. So I don't have the thunder set up, so it's going to break everything. But if we go to fire, it's down. Yeah, but the rotation though, right? But that could be solved by just casting the spell. We get the spell direction. What should be rotated? The whole spell may be rotated because this is area 2D, right? Yeah. Okay, so going to spell system. Here is where we create the spell. So I'm thinking, how would I actually do this? I could do that based on the vector, right? I could just keep the rotation in degrees. Yeah. Okay, so or I could get it from the animated sprite, but that doesn't make sense because this is specifically connected to the spell itself. So here would be the best place to actually keep that information. The question is, can I make the dictionary where the key is a vector? I think not. That would be cool. I think that's impossible. So we just have to if it or match it. Okay, let's try matching it. Godot, GDScript match case. Let's see, enums function calls is match. Okay, let's try this. So it's gonna be a match. Match spell direction spell direction vector to let's do left, right. How do you want to do this? Can we get, we can be smart about this. So let's do get spell rotation. What we'll pass here is the spell direction, which we know is vector 2. Arnold Schneider, hey man, how have you been? How are you? How's your programming journey? What are you up to? Nice to see you here again in the chat. How is your day? What are you working on? Tell us about this. So I can just do match spell direction, and I can go with, let's see, vector. Just do vector 2. Oh yeah, left. So if we're going left, we need to rotate it like, let me think, -90. So we can just do, should be able to do vector -90. Then we have vector 2 right, which is going to be 90. So return 90. Then we have vector 2. I wonder how they're oriented. They all should be the same, right? But I believe they're pointing. Are they all the same? They are not. They are not. because we can see that this is pointing, I don't know, upwards, which is bad. Because we have to take into consideration the initial rotation of the spell. But okay, let's bear with me. Let's handle this case first. So vector, if we have this turn to right, we return 0. If we do up, we turn it minus 90, so this is actually minus 180. So return this. And then vector down, it's actually, it should be 90, I think. We'll adjust, you know. You can always change this. Okay, so we have that, and we need to get the spell rotation. This is equal get spell rotation with spell direction. We instantiate, we add it here, and we do spell rotation degrees is equal to spell rotation. And it should work for the eyes and the plant, but then we have to take into consideration the initial rotation. So if I go with eyes, hey, I said it's going to work, right? It's also going to work with a plant. So we can now cast spells in proper direction. It's not gonna work with fire though, right? Because yeah, you see, we could leave it as it is, but here, if you take a look, it should be initially rotated. So we can get the config and add the initial rotation to that calculation. Okay, so we go to spell config and say export bars or initial rotation, which is going to be 0 initially, at least. But then we go to configuration, and for the fire, let's see, for the fire, wait, why is this empty when it comes to scripts? It shouldn't be. Like refresh, reload, anything. God damn it. Let me try reopening it again. Okay. Let's see that right now. Why is this empty? No, it should be, no. It should be spell config. Spell config. Yeah. And this is like fire. Spell collision shape. The selected resource spell config doesn't match any type expected for this property. What? Selected resource spell config does not match any type expected for this rectangle shape 2D. Collision shape is a node. And I'm talking about rectangle shape 2D. Spell name is like fireball. Initial rotation is 90. But why doesn't this work? This looks like it's wrong. Oh, also, I would like to search for signal visualizer. Yes. Okay. But why isn't it working? This is collision, fireball, new rectangle shape 2D. Then this is a collision shape. Okay. Wait, I spell. No, this is correct. Then this is correct. And this is correct. And this is correct. Only the initial rotation is 90. Okay, knowing that, I can go back to spellcasting, which is here, and say that the config is equal to this. Move it here and pass the spell config initial rotation that can be casted to spell config. And then we need to fix this, as this is a number. So initial rotation, which is a number, and they say, oh, it's not a number, it's an int, right? Because that what will happen if you program in too many languages at the very same time. Okay, cool. So with that, I can say, okay, let's just be dumb about this. Initial rotation plus initial rotation plus initial rotation. And that should solve all of our problems, or not. Scripts inherits from native VBox container. So it can be assigned to object of type rectangle shape 2D. So we have, this should, no, this is wrong. This shouldn't have any script. This is just a rectangle shape. Let's let's pause this. So I can see that Godot is having some problems. Fireball, this is correct. Why is this isn't inventory slot? Like, I am sure of that. Let's clear. This is correct. Now it's correct. Let's run this. Okay. And now let's see about our fireball. Yeah, you see, the initial rotation fixed the problem. But then again, we should introduce some cooldown property for when casting the spell. Right? Because we can just freaking spam it. It's stupid. It's stupid to be able to spam it. So let me think. We should probably add this to on-screen UI. And then we should introduce cooldown. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay. So let's get to it. We have on-screen UI. So let's see, this is a slot and we can control it. It doesn't have to be visible. And it has its own texture and slot label. Okay. Doable, totally doable. Let's copy that. Let's name it spell slot. Let's name this spell. And we'll just have to add like the cooldown, which is cool because we could also add cooldowns for attack or other actions. And we'll need to have a cooldown value and some kind of effect, or probably like a animation or something. Okay, so set equipment textures, all right. On-screen UI, okay. I can get this and cast this. And this can be hidden initially. Then I can say toggle spell slot is visible with Boolean. And I will just say spell slot let me see, this is a signal. Visible is visible. Okay, that's the first thing. And we want to toggle it whenever we select a spell. So let me think, can we actually, oh, it's not Boolean, it's bool, right? Yeah. Too many programming languages. So let's see, I press I equip it to the left hand, and as soon as I select one of the spells, and then also so this is interconnected with the inventory. So let's go to our player. On spell activated. So we have that, and this actually triggers. But we need more information because let's see. Spell slot check magic UI visibility. Here, this is pretty much it. Here is what we'd like to show, or do we? Because we need to keep track of it to enable and disable it properly. So we should probably hide it when we disable the spell UI and toggle it as soon as we select the spell. Okay, all makes sense. So here we need the reference to on-screen UI. And if should show magic UI is equal to false, we'll just do on-screen UI toggle spell slot is visible false, and then spell slot clicked. Here on screen UI toggle spell slot is, well, we also need an information about the selected spell. So shouldn't this actually go from, it should go from the spell system, but we have spell activated here. Okay, so removing that, going to a spell system, you, my friend, could not parse global class inventory. Whoa. Why? Oh, we have this already. Okay, no need to redeclare that. But then going to spell system, here, we need reference to on-screen UI to actually toggle this. So we have the spell config here, and also we'll need one here. So I can just copy this, because I believe this has a texture, right? Or am I right, or am I wrong? I am wrong, because that would be an animation, right? Can we save an animation? No, we don't need animation. We don't need animation, we just need a texture. Okay, so I like UI texture. And that's going to solve most of our problems. So let's go to fire spell, UI texture. We can go with that. Yeah, it actually makes sense. Okay, so we have fire, then we have ice, then we have plant. Okay, so we have UI texture set up. We're moving different. Okay, so we have that. Now it's a matter of setting it correctly. So going back to the spell system, we can say on spell activated, on screen UI, toggle spell slot. And I would say true, but we also should pass texture, which is spell config UI texture. And going here, we can pass here UI texture as a parameter, which is going to be a parameter texture, and say if is visible spell slot set equipment texture UI texture. In theory, that should work, but it doesn't. And here we'll pass just null. Yeah, I know you can save the script. Okay. So I do this and I do this, and now if I equip the fire ice or plant, it's here. Can you see it? Outstanding success. Like, we're moving like crazy. So what is the next step? Right? And we have to be smart about it. I believe that next step is adding the cooldown to a spell. Right. Okay, yeah, and that also is gonna be in spell config. So let's say initial cooldown is going to be float. And let's say that this has 2 seconds. This has, I don't know, 1 and 5, and this has 2.5. Okay. And then we need to use it in our combat system. These are really pretty much the same, but nevertheless, we do spell system cast spell, but we should actually prevent this if there's ongoing cooldown. You can get current cooldown from the spell configuration. Current spell cooldown. And we'll start as a null. But I know it's going to be a float. So when casting first spell, I can say current spell cooldown is equal to spell config initial cooldown. Okay. And then we need to use it. We need to rack it, basically. And there are 2 ways to do this. We could do this with a timer, or we could do this with a delta time. And I believe we could do this with a delta. So let's try this. So function process. So let's call this ongoing or cooldown timer. Okay, and we'll say if current spell cooldown is not equal to null, then say cooldown timer plus equals delta. It's like very basic way of using delta to track cooldowns or track timers. Again, we could use a timer node for this, but I believe this is more fun. And then I could say if cooldown timer is greater or equal than current spell cooldown, I can say cooldown timer is equal to 0. But here I need to say and cooldown timer is less than current spell cooldown. Okay. And let's see. If current, let's see, cooldown timer is less than current spell cooldown, we just return, right? This does looks like it would make sense. So let's see whether this actually prevents us from spamming the spell. Okay, now it doesn't work at all. So let's see. Current spell cooldown timer, if it's less, it is less. Initially it is less. But let's say we have to check for 0 because 0 is like reset, right? If it's not equal to 0, because this is like reset indicator. Okay, but now it seems I can never like cast this again. We probably need to debug this. So do we ever hit this case? We do, but then it automatically resets. Right, so we never hit this if again. So if we have spell cooldown and cooldown timer is less than 0, add this. If it's greater, reset it. But then we're not gonna cast this. We could solve this by introducing another variable, but let me think whether we can like omit that need. So where should we increase the count for the spells? Help me out, chat. Because actually I believe if cooldown timer let me think, if cooldown timer is less, okay, but here maybe we can do else cooldown timer set 0 here instead of here. How does it work now? I grab the book, I set the spell, I cannot, oh, I cast this. Okay, yeah, but what about the initial casting of the spell? Because right now, it doesn't happen. Because of this. If cooldown timer is not equal 0, we're so close to fixing this. Okay, I set this, yes. Now it's working. Okay, perfect. So we have our cooldown timer working here. The problem now is to update the on-screen UI. So how can we do this? We can do this. Can we just do this with like the with a twin? Because we have inventory slot, right? And we could twin it. We could, couldn't we? Hey, that's 7 people in, or at least I think that's the number. Thank you very much for joining me. The problem now is to visualize the cooldown. There are many ways, of course, to do this, but let me think. Let's say on cooldown, let's pass the cooldown timer, which is a float. And then what can we do? You would need to overlay like a color rect here, right? So let's try and add, oops. Why is this frozen? Okay, yeah, we need to Godot, why are you doing this to me? Oh no, I'm just stupid. Never mind. So let's get the color rect. Let's move to the front. Let's say that the color is something like this. The layout could do custom minimum size to be 200. No, that's too big. 200 by 200. Way too big. What's the size of it? 40 by 40. We could do 40 by 40. And let's see. This isn't going to help, but if I would be able to like change the width, but have the origin at the bottom, right? That would give us this effect that we're looking for. Let's see, lock selection, position is 1010. Can I move the origin? Rotation pivot. Is this what's going to help us? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, and now if I'm going to change this, now it still collapsed to the middle. So not what I wanted. Maybe a shader would solve that issue, but I'm not so good with shaders. Okay, you know what? Let's try this, right? Godot shaders. And I'm looking for like cooldown. Let's see. Inactive active progress. Something like this would work. Then I would have to play with shaders. And I don't want to make it more complicated than it has to be. Ruler mode, skeleton options. Is this because of the center container? Because if I will move this here, suddenly, yeah, I can set the anchor. And then I can say, no, I can say, what about now? It cannot collapse to the middle. Okay, oh, let's do size. It collapses to the, oops. Okay, don't worry about this right now. Collapses down. It could work. But then if I were to set this up, move this down, and then trying. Well, I can live with this. Okay. So then it's just a matter of running a twin, right? So going to inventory slot, get reference to color rect. Initially, it has to be hidden. Then say color rect visible true. Get tree. Create twin. And it's gonna be how do you do twin again? It's like twin property, right? Create a twin property. Okay. Twin property. Object is color rect. Property is height. Final value is 40. Duration is cooldown timer. And then I need a callback. Houdini Gaming. Hello. Hello. Nice to see you in chat. Hey, how are you? What's going on? How's life? How's your programming journey? What are you working on? How's your game dev life? Okay, so with that, we're creating cooldown timer, but we also need information about the callback, right? So here it is. Here we will have our callback. So I can just say tween callback. Thank you, Houdini, for being here and talking to me. How are you doing? Let's talk, brother. So currently we're working on the spell system, and what I'm doing now is I'm trying to create a cooldown UI animation, so to inform our user that the spell is on cooldown. I just started game dev, and I did 1-2 tutorials already. I'm novice. Yeah, well, everybody has to start somewhere, somehow. I started like, oh my god, 2 years ago? I think 2 years ago with Unity, which I think is still wonderful software. I'm doing your breakout for 3 days and stack. So live just popped up and I'm watching. You'll figure it out. Remember that there's plenty good tutorials. There are many ways to skin the fish, right? So don't worry, my tutorials aren't perfect. They're just blueprints to get you started. So don't worry, man. Just do your best. Try to figure things out slowly. You're gonna get there. Like, it's not some kind of rocket science or black magic. Everyone can become a game dev. Everybody can become a software engineer or programmer or however you talk it. Don't get discouraged. Hey, Vishal Yadav. Hello, man. How are you? How are you doing? How's life? How's your game dev journey? How's your programming journey? I need to get some order for me. So don't get discouraged. You will feel like you're stuck from time to time. This is expected. This is normal. Nothing really strange about it. Just the best advice I can give you is just try to break your issues into smaller problems and come at them super max. Hello. Just go at them like gradually, step by step. Like right now I'm trying to create a cooldown system for a spell attack, but I had to break it in parts. Hello, Pluto. Hi. Yeah, it is frustrating. Like, believe me that there are things in programming that are frustrating because working with code is complex and it gets more and more complex as you develop the system, right? And there are many moving parts that you have to keep track of, right? It looks amazing. So yeah, like what I'm doing right now is not really a tutorial, but just, you know, a live stream to talk to people a little bit. But in the very end, all of those live streams will be taken, and I will create a single video as a full tutorial for a Zelda in Godot. Visha, I am good. Game dev journey is not starting. I'm a 3D generalist. Like you model in 3D, you're working with 3D software. Man, I envy you. Like, I know a little bit of Blender. I was using it years ago. Wonderful piece of software, works great along with Godot. So if you already can do your own assets for a free game, like, yeah, congratulations. I think if I were to make a game, which I plan to do, I would just find somebody who's skilled enough to create graphical assets. because managing the programming and game design and then also doing assets, I know that there are people that do all of it great, but I believe I would find somebody to help me with it, just to, you know, build a team and speed things up. Okay, so we do a callback here. So let's do on twin finished, and we can create that function. It's gonna be really simple. No arguments here needed, and I will just color rect visible false. Oh yeah, like Vishal, Godot makes sense. Like you can use Unity, you can use Unreal. That's up to you. But I was running. I have pretty powerful setup here, and I was trying to run Unreal before, and it loads. It works great once it loads, but it takes like I don't know, a minute to load. And Godot, you click the icon and it's just there. So this is my engine of choice. Like Godot, isn't it really hard? You just have to think about everything as building blocks, like Lego. It's just like Lego blocks that you piece together. I believe that's the best approach to thinking about Godot, right? And for me, it really makes sense. Okay, so we have inventory slot, and we need to trigger a cooldown here. So this happens in a spell system. Oh, if you Vishal, if you have any kind of 3D work, you can share it here in the chat or on Discord. I'm not really active on Discord this day because there's a lot of stuff going in my life right now. But yeah, like you have like basic Lego. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yes, within, because you have those nodes that you can use like a basic building blocks to create scenes, which are like more complex system, and then you just piece it all together. If you take a look at my player, right, it is built from many different blocks that I pieced together to make it work as I would like to. And then in my main scene, I just place the player here, right? So these are all building blocks. I guess because I use Unity at my professional workplace, but not at programming level. Well, to be honest, I know that there are some controversies about Unity right now. I understand this, but still, this is a great piece of software that can be used to create games. I have really nothing against it. I just prefer Godot. It make more sense to me to use open source software, but I know that it's not yet as popular as Unreal and Godot, but it will get there. I give it a few years, definitely. I believe it. That's why I'm programming in it. But Unity is still great. I started with Unity. It just didn't click for me as much as Godot did. A main is like a main. No, the main, like the main scene, right, is this. I just call it main, right? This is where the game will happen, right? And then what does main consist of currently? It consists of a tile map, right? Which we see. One pickup item, which is here. The second pickup item, which is here. And then a player. That's actually a nice proposition. But to be honest, with the time I have, I do not plan on doing 3D game yet. I do have a plans for a game, but it's gonna be a to the game in Godot, because currently I'm working on tutorials and I love that, but making game is definitely more complex, and I need to release my first game and do it in a manageable way. And that additional 3D component in the 3D games actually makes a game more hard to write and manage. But I will keep you on that promise, and if I ever decide to work on a 3D game, we can keep in touch. You can find me on Twitter and send me a DM, or you can reach out on Discord. Like, I hope that the Discord will grow in time, and we will get a community of people that want to work on the games together. But still, if you know Blender, that's how long did it took you to like be on your level with Blender? Was it like, I don't know, a year, 2 years, or something like that? Okay, going back, we need to do spell system. We cast a spell, right? And we need to work with our on-screen UI and say spell cooldown activated, and that's gonna be current spell cooldown. I'm already following you on Twitter. I am Barry. Hello there again. Hey Barry. Vishal, send me a DM on Twitter so that I can follow you back. And then I can find your social media handlers. I can probably find your work if you're posting your work somewhere. Like, definitely, dude. Let's keep in touch, right? Maybe that communication and that cooperation will be fruitful in the future. Because yeah, I love creating tutorials, but I'm already starting to think about making games. And also, I would like to create courses. Like, this is just a small YouTube channel, guys, but my dream is to live off that, like live off teaching people and making games, because Godot is great. The games are great, right? It's wonderful medium. It's something else. Okay, let's try running this cooldown. So we have to go to on-screen UI, which we can cast to on-screen UI. And then I can say, what's his name? Spell cooldown activated. I will get cooldown as a float. I can say spell slot, something cooldown. What's the name of this? On cooldown. Okay. You have a great attitude and nice way of. Thank you. I really appreciate every single nice comment. Thank you, Houdini. Like, yeah, I've been teaching pretty much my whole life. Like, I was a tutor in my high school, where I was teaching people mainly math. Then during my university time, and then I started this channel. At first, I started it as a web dev channel because I'm a web developer by trade. But then I decided that, like, during my day job, working on web dev, and then also doing content about it, that would be too much. So I switched to game dev. Pluto, do you think Godot has a hard learning curve? No, actually not. You just have to understand one concept, one thing, right? And this makes actually very great sense to me. What you have is you have nodes, which are like your basic building blocks that are different, right? This may be the one that makes your character move. This may be the one that give your character collision. And this is, for example, the one that gives your character animation. And then you combine those nodes into a scene, right? Just like I did, for example, with spell scene. So this spell scene is combined of area 2D to detect collision, animated sprite to play the animation, and collision shape that is like the shape for the collision, right? And this creates a spell scene, right? And then what we do is we get those scenes, different scenes, then can be combined in, let me grab this for you. This can be combined in a even bigger scene, like big scene. And then in the very, very end, like even your whole game, your game is also a scene. So everything is either a node or a scene which is a combination of nodes. And then to each node, you can attach a script to make it dynamic and like make it move and work, right? And this is, let's call this script SC, right? And that's the basic concept of Godot. Is it hard? No, the GDScript language is one of the easiest languages. I don't know, is there I believe there's okay. So GDScript is one of the easiest languages to work with. Yeah, it's like you're saying, like, this is your game. It consists of some scenes. These scenes can have different scenes in them. And some of those scenes will have a basic blocks which are called nodes. Then on every level you can attach a code. To make it run, make it work, and make it dynamic. And this is the whole philosophy of GDScript, which makes sense because you don't have to worry about components. The communication between the components is very top down. It's through signals which are going up or are going horizontally. And then standard data exchange. It's hard to find things when you have many scenes. No, there are many ways to actually handle the data communication between scenes. For example, one thing you have is a scene reference, which is like, let's go back to our paint. Like, for example, let me find out. Here, I need to know about this scene, so I can just pass the reference, right? Like, and this is a simple one-liner, like here. For example, here in my player, which is like a top node, right? I need to know about other system in other node in a scene, which is inventory. I can just drag and drop it here. And there, now I can work with inventory within the player. Let's actually add a class name player here, right? The other thing is that you have something called groups. So for example, if you have lots of enemies in your scene, you can add them to one single group and then just call get first node in group, for example, right? And you have access to a group, or you can just let's see, group, has group, set group, notify group, get nodes in group. So there are many ways to communicate between elements in Godot. Also, remember that if you are creating a script, like attach script here, you can use C#. I believe you can also add C++ or Rust. And I know that you can mix C# and GDScript. Yeah, for example, let's go back to Paint again. You have a node, which is like, I don't know, a spawn point for your enemies. And then you have like lots of enemies all over your game. And you need to know whether to spawn another enemy, right? You can just add them all to, I don't know, enemy group. And this group can be globally accessed by your spawn point node, like get nodes in group to know about the nodes that are in this group. Very useful. But be patient with yourself. Like, I'm saying that this is easy because I have years of experience programming, but for other people, that getting the grip of this might be a little complicated and take a little bit of time. Okay, let's see. What are we working with here? So we have on cooldown. And this is in inventory system, or is it? This should be spell system, cooldown timer. Okay, this is activated, spell slot on cooldown, right? Because spell slot is on screen. Oh, this is on screen equipment slot. So I added the code in inventory slot. No worries, we'll just... Yeah, so this is wrong. Damn it. Okay, no worries, all good. I'll take this here, move it here. I will get this, go to on-screen equipment slot. Let's see, add this here, make it visible. Okay, this is fine. And you can see how easy it is to refactor everything. I added the node to a wrong place, to a wrong scene, and now I can just rework it. Let me grab a little bit of water. Again, I do not expect it to work from the start. Okay, yeah, this has to be like hidden. Okay. Equip it. Choose the fire. Let's cast the fire, and it's not working. Yeah. Definitely. Thank you. No worries, Houdini. Always happy to help. Yes, definitely always use Git for version control. Like, Git is great, and you can use it for any kind of project. Like, I use Git for my bachelor thesis to keep track of different versions. Like, yeah, but if you're working on a project, or even if you're working on 3D project, yeah, always use Git. Okay, so what do we have here in the errors? Not found. Yes, because we don't need this, and we shouldn't use it like anywhere. Okay, so okay, this is selected. That doesn't matter. So let's try this again. Can Godot Supermax, can Godot be industry standard, or there are any reason for using it instead of Unity? Well, it will be industry standard in some time. It still has some features missing, like, but I know they have plans for it. It doesn't have dot system, like a swarm system. Let me show you Godot swarm. Yeah, that's the one. You know, the Unity has the dot system for managing big amounts of entities. This is still missing for Godot. Like, but as you can see, there's ongoing discussion on that. The 3D support could be a little bit better, but you still definitely can do 3D games and make them look nice. Like, you know, Road to Vostok, right? This is made in Godot. Yeah, exactly, Vishal. Exactly. I remember the times where Maya or 3ds Max were industry standards and you had to pay a lot of money for a license, right? But then again, the open source community came together, and look what we have right now in Blender. Looking at the Blender right now, I see no reason to use any other 3D software and paying for a license. If you take a look at the Road to Vostok, every single asset here, and the game looks great, really, is created in Blender, and the game is running in Godot. Like, are you able to get better graphics fidelity out of the box with Unreal, for example? Yeah, but still the community is really working hard to bring Godot to an industry standard. For example, one thing that really helps for 3D, I love this plugin, like Supermax. My company uses 3ds Max instead of Blender because the boomers know that once after more than 20. Yeah, I know this is terrible in all the IT industry. There are companies or some parts of industry that are so entrenched in using outdated software, or they just don't want to try anything else. It's crazy. You have one company that I know was using outdated PHP framework to build their servers because, oh, that's what we have been using for years, and why try something else? Like, I don't know, dude, like, make your brain work and learn something new. For example, one thing that can be a problem for new people going in Godot is setting up the lights so that they're nice. You know, Unreal has this like built-in pretty much. So, but there's a plugin for that. Like you just install instant realistic light, and there you go. Like, okay, we really need to get that cooldown working. So equip it, and I'm trying to cast a spell. And okay, at least we have some errors, so that's good. On cooldown, the twinned high property does not exist. Okay, fair. But yeah, I even tried learning 3ds Max when I was working with Blender, and no, like the open software is created by users for users, and it shows. Really, that's why Godot makes sense to me, because it's made by people who love games and love creating games for other people with the very same much passion, and it shows that this is community driven. Really. Okay, this is incorrect, but this is probably due to the yeah, we need this property. So I can just copy property path and say size, and this has to be vector 2 40 by 40, but we will start with 0 here. And now we should be able to twin it. Grab this, equip the left hand, this. I'm trying to cast this, and it's not working as it should, because is this game called too often? It worked for the first time, right? And then it shows, because on, yeah, at the very end, it's harder to use another language besides GDScript, like C++. Well, yes, C++ is a harder language to learn than GDScript. Pluto. Yes. I would say C++ is harder. But if you need it for like Unreal, then you can definitely learn it on the level you needed to know to make a game. Also remember that Unreal has like the visual scripting, which simplifies stuff a lot, right? Because in Unreal, what you can program in C++, and it's a little bit more efficient, but you have those nodes that you're just connecting to make your game work. All right, but I also recommend C# for like Unity or for GDScript. Also, there will be new language coming to Unreal Engine, like I believe in the next edition. What happened to visual scripting in Godot? It's still there, like, or was it there? I believe it was removed. Let's see. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, you can do visual scripting in Godot, but this is in Godot 3.5. I believe it was removed, right? Yeah, it was removed. Maybe they will bring it back, but I can see that games from scratch have some information about this. Yeah, so definitely there are ways to do this. Just look at the game from scratch guy video. He's very talented and he has a great content. But still, I would recommend you to code, to learn coding. Like, it's fun and it's totally doable. Okay, we need to go to on-screen equipment slot and reset this here. So correct size is equal to vector to 0.40. I believe that's gonna solve our issue, at least partially. Okay, so I'm casting this. Oh. Why does it go in other direction? Let's see. Oh yeah, of course it does. This should be 40 and 0. And then I pretty much need to bring it before center container. And I need to play with the values here. So make it more gray. Maybe give it a little bit of saturation. Drop the alpha. Let's do something like this. Okay, so I equip that. I choose a spell. I cast this. Yeah. It works. Maybe you can change a color to something like more visible, like red. Yeah, usually, yeah, that's true. That's true. That Unity 10-15 gigabytes for engine, 115 gigabytes for Visual Studio, Godot 50 megabytes, and all set. That is, yeah, that is great summary of Godot. And also you can take a look at the engine size on disk. Let's take a look at UE5. 42 gigabytes if you disable everything but the base content. In the end, your initial size will be 40 gigabytes. Like, why do I need 40 gigabytes of code if I just want to create a simple 3D game, maybe with some shaders, load some FBX files, and play with it around a little bit? Most of your games, if you're not creating like complex game with high fidelity graphics, with complex animations where you need all of the features of the engine, and believe me, as an indie dev starting, you do not. Why do you need 40 gigabytes on your drive? Let's check with Unity. Unity on size disk. Uninstallation is around 5.5 and you have 7 of them, therefore, oh yeah, because Unity has a different version of this. Right? You need around, well, at least, let's say 6-7 giga. And then Godot. Godot says like it's just a file. Like probably I can probably show it to you. Where is it? Can you see it? This is Godot. 105, and this is because I'm using C# version. Like so, the .NET, the C# integration with this, right? That's all. That's pretty much all. Okay, going back to our game. I believe we should be pretty much done. Yeah, we have the cooldown working. And that's it. Okay, so that feature is done. Casting spells is done. They do not do anything, any damage or anything like this. But I believe this is going to be a right moment to finish the stream. We have the cooldown for spells. The spells are being casted in the proper direction. So I'm very, very happy with that. I believe then the next stream is where we will start working on the enemies. Like, thank you all for joining me, for all the conversation, for all of the comments. I hope you enjoyed that stream, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.